I mix hybrid. What does that mean and how do I do it? Today I'm going to share all my secrets. Hi, I'm Studio Hermit Ed and welcome to my studio. In a vehicle, hybrid means you're using both gasoline and electricity to make the vehicle go. Well, in the studio, hybrid just means that you're using both digital and analog to make a song. To make a song every week and put it up on YouTube, I have to work really fast. When you're watching last week's video, I'm making the next week's video. I could not do it without my templates. I have two templates. The first one is in Logic Pro. It's my digital template. And right here it is. I also have an analog template that I'm going to show you later for mixing. My mixing process starts when I open up my digital template. New from template, 2026 start. We're going to choose that one. Choose. All my tracks are laid out, ready to go for me. The inputs are all ready to go. All I have to do is hit record and start making a new song. You can see over here, this is all the drum inputs, 1 through 10 from the Tascam Studio Bridge. Right here is the inputs, 1 through 10. Everything's all ready to go. If it's an acoustic guitar, you can see right here, in 19, that's from my Focusrite, ISA 428 channel 3. So I can just arm this and I'm ready to go with the acoustic guitar. And then I can come up here to my lead vocals. And this is just the scratch track, and you can see I've got that on 19. I can just arm that, record. Maybe I want to start a song instead of with the acoustic guitar. If I'm going to start with an electric guitar, I'm ready to go with my S gear right here. And I may use this, I may not. And the same with my keyboards. I got a piano ready to go, an organ ready to go, an alchemy ready to go for synths. Whatever I need is right here in my template, and that is really the beginning of my mixing process. Okay, we got our template all armed. We're at 132 beats per minute we came up with on this song, The Preacher's Wife. We're gonna record a scratch track, and that's gonna be the layout of our song. My BASN microphone is always ready to go. It's a condenser mic, and it's going into my ISA 428 channel 3. Not that that matters because all preamps are the same. We know that now. Yeah, right. So we're going to get a quick scratch acoustic guitar, scratch vocals, and then we're going to go in and record the drums. She was the first one in church. You may have noticed that a video on mixing is talking about tracking. Why? Because the decisions made here are either going to make your mix sound good or they're going to tie your hands. That's why this is so important, that everything comes together when you start with your very first tracks that you record. For me today, now that's going to really be the drums. And I do not use sample replacement on YouTube. It's part of my attempt to be authentic. Sometimes that doesn't sound very good and sometimes I get lucky. So the snare that you hear on all of my videos, that's the real snare that I really am sitting here playing, okay? Same with the kick. Toms, drums, I've showed you how I do all the mics before on other videos. I'm not going to go into detail. I'll show you in on the mixing board what I do. In a way, this is a template also. This is how I track my drums. Kick in, the kick out, snare top, snare bottom, tom 1 and 2, the overheads, and my rooms. These are stereo channels, these three. When you come up here, you can see my kick in. I have the high pass filter set. Oh, that's at about 60 or 70 actually. Low pass filter, almost nothing. That should be off. And on the snare top, no high pass filter. On the snare bottom, I've got it high passed. On the toms, a little bit of high pass. Overheads, this is set at about 100. And my room mics. It gives me a lot more room in the mix, and you can see my EQ here. I've got some EQ going on. My kick inside, not a lot, but the kick outside, I've got some click on here, the highs, mids, nothing, not a lot going on here, but a little bit of EQ. I've got the phase switched on the snare bottom. After tracking the drums, the song didn't sound right to me. Time to go back to the acoustic guitar. Key of A did not sound right with the way I played the drums today, or the temperature, I don't know. So what I did is I put a capo on and we went up to B flat and it sounded better to me. So we're gonna do this song in the key of B flat. That button box do B flat? I hope so. Once I get the song picked out and the drums done, come in here and get the right key, the battle's pretty much won for me. Then all I had to do last week is track the song. When you see me on the green screen here, the one-man band thing, playing and singing, those are the tracks that I actually use. It's my attempt to be authentic. Those couple of notes on the accordion, I'm really playing, and that's the tracks you hear. The vocals, same thing. Bass guitar, I didn't even swap out any notes on anything. What you see is what you hear. I don't have a lot to offer YouTube. I'm not very pretty, and I'm not a great musician, and my songs aren't that great, but I have my authenticity. So that's what I'm after here. That's all you're gonna get. I hope that's enough for you. Now we gotta mix this song. I'll show you what I got going on in Logic Pro. That's where I do my automation. And then we're gonna run those tracks, 22 of them, out through the Tascam Studio Bridge and into my giant analog mixing board and my gear. And I'm gonna show you what I got going on over there. We're ready to mix down our song. We've got everything all ready to go. Let me show you what we've got going on in the box, the digital side of our mix down stage. We've got all of our drums over here. You can see, now I start on channel 3. In Logic, 1 and 2 are your stereo outs, and I just save those. It's easier for while I'm tracking. So 1 and 2 I just leave alone over on the mixing board. That allows me to monitor my scratch tracks while I record drums and listen to the click track, whatever. So I start with 3. 3 is the kick. Kick in and the kick out. The kick out is going output 3 and into the Tascam Studio Bridge is my interface. And 3 is going out to 3 on the mixing board. 4 right here, both snares are combined, going out into mono channel 4. The toms, you can see, are going out 5 and 6, and they're panned about 30 left and 30 right. I always record to the drummer's perspective, but I want to mix to the audience perspective. When I'm looking at it on YouTube, I want to see when the drummer's going from left to right. You know what I mean. So I always have to swap them when I go to mix, left and right. That's the reason why these are swapped. The overheads are all the way. You can see they're going out of 7 and 8 and into 7 and 8 on the mixing board. And then 9 and 10 are my room mics. Those are the bathroom mics. And 9 and 10 are also drum short and the drum long. For the drum short, all it is just like a gated chamber. For the drums long, I'm using the QRS. I kind of like this Quantic whatever in Logic, but the Quantic Room Simulator, and it's a longer reverb. Then my acoustic guitars are next. Acoustic guitars are all going out 11 and 12. The Strat Live, and that's going out 13 and 14, along with, I doubled up that track here. Those are all going out 13 and 14. The accordion is the lead instrument, so in the mixing board, that's 15 and 16. Piano is going out 17 and 18, and in, of course, 17 and 18 on the mixing board. I keep this real simple for myself. Next, we got background vocals, 19 and 20. And then we've got the lead vocals, 21. The bass, 22. Those are both mono also. All of my effects. All right, let me show you what these are. The short verb, and that's that QRS again here. Then the chroma verb is my long verb. That's my long verb. The chorus, just a chorus effect here. Then we got our delay, same thing, EQ, little bit of scoop there in the 5 to 800 range. That's the delay. Now, it's the only effect that I have automated. It'll come in and out as the choruses and the verses progress. And then I've got a distortion here. That's my distortion 2. And then I got a gain plug-in on it turned down pretty low. Then we've got, I call this awesome delay. It's just this real big delay, reverby thingy with the tremolo. And then I've got my bass effects. I have a bass amp going into a chorus effect. After it's mixed in the big mixing board, it has to come back into Logic, 2 tracks for my stereo tracks. And that's right here. And I call this the preacher's wife, coming in 25 and 26. Now let me show you my inputs here. Now I have 50 inputs and outputs that I can use. 25 and 26 are the Motu 16A coming in, and those are coming in off of one of the matrices on the mixing board that's just tied directly to the stereo out. Now we got our outputs. You can see I'm not using output 1 and 2, and on every channel I put a compressor. That has more to do with gain staging than the sound of it. I use this compressor as gain staging before I hit the mixer channels. And I have every channel turned down to -4, so I'm not hitting those channels too hard, but I'm hitting them hard at this. That's what I got going on in the box. Now let's go over to the mixing board and let me show you the analog side of things. We got the kick coming in, snare, toms, overheads, rooms. Acoustic guitars, electric guitars, lead guitars. This is actually the accordion. And then we got our keys, background vocals, left and right, lead vocals, bass, and our effects. Now I'm not using my outboard effects in this song. They're all automated in the box and coming into these 2 channels right here. So these are turned off for now. I will use my effects while I'm tracking, or if I mix down on the studio bridge by itself, I need the effects. So I've got them here, and they're pretty much set up the same way. Short verb, long verb, chorus, and delay. All the faders, when I'm mixing on the board, are set at 0. They're all cranked pretty hot. And the mix bus is cranked pretty hot. You can see it right there. Let me see. Yep. That's the mix bus. See where we've got the EQ. The kick, right here. No high pass filter, a little bit of lows, take out a little bit of mids, ton of highs at 2K added in, and this here is 7K. Snare, high pass filters set on about 60. A little bit of lows at 200, take out some mids. We're adding 4K and we're adding 10K. Toms and the overheads, a little bit of high pass filter, not much on the overheads. We're getting some warmth out of those ribbon mics. Almost no EQ at all there. Room mics, well, now we got the high pass filter on, we're up there about 100. And we're adding some lows, taking out some mids, adding a little bit, 7K. Then the acoustic guitars, high pass filter, taking out some lows, taking out some mids, just a little bit of highs. Electric guitars, high pass filters, and you can see what we got going on in EQ, not a whole lot. And here's our lead. In this case, it's the accordion. High pass filters again. The high pass filters on the keys are set at about 60. And we're adding some lows, taking away some mids, and adding some highs. Background vocals, high pass filter is set up a little bit past 100. The lead vocals, a little bit of high pass filter, probably around 80. A little bit of lows, take away some mids, add some highs. Bass guitar, just a little bit of high pass filter. It's actually probably the high pass filter is around 30 on the bass guitar. Taking away some mids, adding some highs, getting that smiley face. And on our effects, high pass filter set around 60, adding some lows, not much on the mids. Taking away some of that sharpness, that'll be 3K. Nothing on the highs. And that's it. That's what we do on the mixing board. In parallel, the groups. I'm editing this video, and I got to the part of where I use my groups for parallel EQ and compression. Now that just means that you're sending some of the signal straight through to the mix bus, uncompressed. And the other signal you're sending parallel with that signal, a compressed and EQ'd signal. All the old timers used to talk about this like it was the magic bullet. And I could never get it to work. I mean, for decades, okay? In the box, you could get a little bit out of parallel compression, but it was like no different than just using the mix knob on the compressor. It was like nothing to me. I'm like, where's this magic at? Big deal. Now, I tried it analog too. I tried it on a Tascam 20-channel board I had, 20x4. There was an M series board. I tried it on a Mackie 32x8 board. Oh, the Allen and Heath. I had a 40-channel by 8 GL4000. I tried it on it. Now, they were all older boards, and it never worked for me until I got this Yamaha PM4000. On all those other boards, I always had a little bit of phasing going on. Okay, it was out of phase to me when I tried bringing in the groups parallel to the plain signal. But when I got this Yamaha PM4000, for the first time in my life, after decades, I finally understood the parallel thing. It worked. It makes the mix bigger. Now you can see the drums, the kick, the snares, and the toms are all going out to group 1 and 2. Group 1 and 2 over here are going out into, okay, you see the Harrison EQ32 on the left and the right, and then the DBX compressor. We're doing quite a bit here. This is my parallel compression and EQ on the drum bus, kick, snare, and toms. Group 3, the lead vocals are going, you can see right here, out group 3. Group 3 is tied into the Cush right here. Cush, Electra, this is the lead vocals and parallel compression on the lead vocals. And you can see what we got going on there. A little bit of compression, not much. Group 4 is the bass guitar. Okay, group 4, you can see up here is going out, that's the bass guitar, going into the bluey right here, and I'm crushing the crap out of it, you can see. The most important part of hybrid mixing is gain staging, and I've been doing that all along. I used clip gain in Logic. I used the faders in Logic. I used that compressor on every output of Logic that comes into the giant mixing board, all for gain staging. And then, like I said, I keep all my faders at 0. So now how do I mix? How do I make the final mix in the song? Every fader on my board can be assigned to a VCA fader and a mute. So when you come over here, you see up here, okay, all the drums are assigned to 1. This are the VCA faders, these are the mutes. So 1 is drums, 2 is acoustic guitar, 3 is electric guitars. You can see all the way up. Over here we've got the master sections. I can sit in the middle if I want my effects to come down in the verse, up in the chorus. I can do my mixing right here on these 8 faders. In my mutes, I just muted the drums, acoustic guitar, electric, leads, keys, background vocals, lead vocals, and the bass. I can do whatever I need to do right here sitting in the master section, and that's how I make my final mix tweaks. That brings us to the mix bus. The mix bus has inserts, and they come over here. The first thing we hit with the mix bus is the ultraviolet. So we're hitting this ultraviolet SSL EQ with the mix bus, and you can see what we've got going on there. And it goes from there into this SSL clone, the BC501, and you can see how much compression we got going on. Not quite 4. That's where I like to keep it. Right between 3 and 4. And then it goes from there, the mix bus goes into the Avalon 747. I like this like to go on and off with the beat. That's my decibels in compression. There's not a lot going on. And this EQ, these are right in the middle, and I'm just adding a little bit of highs. And that would be our mix bus. That brings us to how we're getting out of here back into digital. Stereo out goes through matrix 5 and 6 are going to 16A1 and 2 down here. And you can see the 16A right here. And the whole thing, when we're all done, ends up right there. That is our final mix. I wrote a song a while back called The Preacher's Wife, and it's about my mama. Last week, my neighbor Mike goes to an auction and he found a button box there. This is an accordion. When the neighbor Mike brought this in, it just melted my heart. Let me tell you why. Because it reminded me of my mama. Now, every Sunday afternoon, almost, my mama would get out her accordion, and my brothers and I would sit on the edge of her bed and we would listen to my mama play the accordion. Now, she played the piano and the organ also in church, but there was something about she just loved the accordion. And she got pretty good on it. She could play any hymn on the accordion. I am not good, but when Mike brought this into the studio, I knew I had to use it on a song called The Preacher's Wife about my mama. And I can only play a few notes on it, but on the right side. So I played a few of these buttons for you on this song. I hope you like it. This song is called The Preacher's Wife. She was the first one in church on Sunday morning, with her 3 boys lined up in a row. We sat right up front next to her piano, and when we got out of line, well, she picked up anything she could throw. I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife. She was a real good cook, and she brought us up right. When Daddy had the deacons over, she hid the toys out of sight. Yeah, I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife. Play that button box. The piano, and Daddy would sing. And when Daddy was sick, she even gave out a sermon or two. Yes, she did. We never had a lot of money like most folks do, but even hand-me-downs, Mama made them feel just like new. Yes, she did. I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife. She was a real good cook, and she brought us up right. When Daddy had the deacons over, she hid the toys out of sight. Yeah, I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife. Did I say I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife? And we all said amen. So that's how I made the Preacher's Wife song, a song about my mama. Now, by no means am I here to show you how to make music. I'm here to inspire you to make music in your own way, however that is and whatever that looks like. If nothing else, look at an old fart like me on YouTube. If I can make a song and put it up and people listen to it, think of what you could do. So just make music. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe because that's how we get to hang out. Until next week, I'm gonna miss you. I put up a video every Friday morning, real early, 12 a.m. So till next week, I'm gonna miss you. Bye-bye.
Play that button box.
The piano and Daddy would sing. And when Daddy was sick, she even gave out a sermon or two. Yes, she did. We never had a lot of money like most folks do, but even hand-me-downs, Mama made them feel just like new. Yes, she did. I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife. She was a real good cook, and she brought us up right. When Daddy had the deacons over, she hid the toys out of sight. Yeah, I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife. Did I say I thank God for my mama, the preacher's wife? And we all said